Today we have only one presentation, but I think this is a important stage of Muhtadi's presentation because I think there's a lot of input I want to share. And the research that Muhtadi is carrying out is a kind of heavy-duty kind of research, not the not the type of research that I have supervised for a long time. Actually, you're doing historical sociology, so I do want to spend time to go deeper into your presentation, into your work, right? But before Muhtadi is ready for the findings presentation, right, to the Samples Committee, we want to make sure everything is ready, everything's strong first, right? So the whole philosophy of our supervision, whole philosophy of our PhD and master's education in my supervision is to make sure that you go in strong, right? Not just passing, but going very strong. So we know that you know that you're going to win the battle. You might get hurt here a bit there, but not much, right? So in war, I think Sun Tzu said that, right? Win the war and then go into the battle. You win the war first. By design, you know you're going to win, and then you start the battle. You do not start the battle without knowing you're going to win the war. Right? So you know you're going to win the war, and then you start the battle. So, okay, Muhtadi, the floor is yours. It's our 3 o'clock right now.
Thank you for this introduction, Doctor. Actually, we need help for that. We need help. We will, in the future, we will become researcher. So, thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for attending this session and listen to my presentation. So, my title, okay, Ken?
Is the voice okay over there? Chang, can you hear me? Can you hear Muhtadi, sorry? A bit soft. Yeah, can you bring this name? Or you want to speak up? Yeah. Bring it up. Okay, can you do it?
Now, hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, this is a title thesis research is evolution of paternalism, contestations within political modernity of Shiite Iraq. So I did my proposed defense, but it's just quickly I want to display research questions and research objectives until I can continue. So research questions, I have 3 research questions here. What are the evolutionary changes throughout the different periods in Iraq, in Iraqi Shiite history vis-a-vis paternalism? What are the different generative mechanisms at work in each of these periods? What are the processes that have manifested in connection with each of these generative mechanisms? Research objectives is to investigate the relationship between the Ayatollah's paternalism and Shia social thought and their intersection with political modernity from the 19th century to the present, to analyze the specific focus of the mechanism employed by Ayatollah to promote paternalism during the historical period, to examine the effects and outcomes resulting from the mechanism utilized by Ayatollah to promote paternalism. First of all, Doctor, this is I display now. I present by just part of my work, not all my work, but this is my research question and this is my research objective. Maybe I will fulfill this answer with all the work, not with this presentation. So, go to the methodology. I use the quantitative methodology. So the strategy I use it, retroductive research strategy, and also historical method. And data collection depends on the historical resources and also document. This is document issued by Ayatollah as answer and questions by Ayatollah, questions and answer, or a statement they issued in some events they happen in the historical of Iraq Shiite or Iraq society. So social media, they related with Ayatollah also, or politicians also sometimes, or some social factors. Also observation. Observation depends the observation observed by the historical man or social factors. Also by myself. Also by my experience, self-experience with the society, because I am one of member of the society. Data analysis, I depend on exploratory, description, identification, retroduction. So go to the first chapter after proposed defense or after methodology is the fourth chapter, Taqlid versus modernity in the 19th century. So exploratory of mechanism, I reached to this mechanism. We have two mechanisms from the side, the right side. It says deriving mechanism and supportive mechanism. So there is deriving mechanism means this is external mechanism. They push this event or this social phenomena to appear in the social structure. And supportive mechanism, this is internal events or internal mechanism. They also support this is social structure to appear to the people or to the society. And on the left side, we have this is visible mechanism and invisible mechanism. Visible mechanism, the mechanism can observe it from anywhere, any person, whether researcher or layman. But invisible mechanism, they cannot observe it from layman or ordinary people. They can observe it just by a researcher if he go to dig deeper, to live and to understand deep the society and historical event until he can understand the mechanism. So before we go deep, we need to understand what means paternalism. The first, I don't know, but maybe I can say that there is lack, or I cannot find studied paternalism or apply this concept on the Ayatollah phenomena. So maybe this is my thesis is first one to try. I am attempt to make connection between this concept and Ayatollah phenomena. So what's mean paternalism? Meaning paternalism, the system can control or can restrict the others and make decision on behalf of them for their own good. For example, we come here. B acts paternalistically toward Q, here his target just in case. P limits Q's liberty or interferes with Q's decision making. Again, number two, against Q's will, without her his consent, or contrary to her his preferences. And number three, for Q's own good. This is the definition. So we can give classification, classify this paternalism. There is normative paternalism. What does it mean? If I take decision on behalf of you or restrict your freedom for your own good, I need to give justification, logic justification, until I can do this action. So liberty and duty. Paternalism against liberty. So everybody have liberty when he birth, especially with the democratic societies. So paternalism is a duty to put a duty on this liberty to restrict them for their own good. Also, we have soft and hard. Soft paternalism, if I can do that, and the children and the innocent people to take decision behalf of them because they don't have ability to rule or to run their life. This is soft. Hard paternalism, no. If I can apply this, restrict the freedom others, or take my decision for adult people and sane people, not the innocent people. This is hard. Weak and strong. Weak, can I take a decision for something safety? For example, if the government apply to every driver he should wear belt seat, this is weak for their safety. But strong paternalism, we can say the decision with the people they have ability they understand, they realize their life, but at the same time they can take paternalism for their own good. This is strong. Also, board or Nero paternalism. Board paternalism, he can take, for example, government. Broad and Nero. So, for example, abroad he can take government or everywhere can take decision. The people how can I say that in English? People they don't have ability to take their decision by their own will. Nero, the people have ability, but at the same time they take decision their own behind. Maybe the government thinking the government or the boss his decision better than them. Deception or manipulation. Sometimes paternalism manipulate with people or lie on them for their own good. For example, if the doctor says that the patient, you are not sick, but he is sick, or maybe he has a danger disease, but tell him your disease is not a danger. He lie, but this lie for the patient good. So this is paternalism. Or maybe I remove the pills they help to sleep from my wife or from my son or from my father.
Sleeping pills.
Yeah, maybe why? Because if you use every day this pill, he will addict on them, and they're not good for his health or her health. So this is manipulate or deception, paternalism. So how can we apply this in Ayatollah? We will see. So okay. So this is a framework about Ayatollah in Iraq, what this means and what is mechanism for them. So if you go to the history, we should go to the theology for 12 Shia, and this is common Shia or vast majority Shia in Iraq and everywhere around the world. So the theology for the 12 Shia depend on the basic five fundamental. So we go to the monotheistics, justice, hereafter. Monotheistics mean God alone, just one God, Allah. Justice, God is justice. Hereafter, this belongs to God. So if you see this God, I take his line. God, his attributes has three attributes. With the Shia theology, monotheistic, he's alone. Justice, God is justice. Hereafter. So also, if the Shia believe in this, maybe all the Muslim and all the monotheistic religion believe in this way. So what is the thing make Shia distinguish after them? So go to the prophethood. So the Shia believe in the prophethood. The Muhammad prophet, the leader of Islam, who founded the Islam. They believe because this God sent this Muhammad to the people by Islam and by the holy book is the Quran. Also, all the Muslims believe in this. All the denomination sects Muslim believe in this way. But what is that make Shia different from others? The Shia believe in imamate. This is imamate theory. This is especially in Shia. Imamate theories mean there's 12 imam. Ali, the husband of the Prophet's daughter Fatima, his cousins, and his sons Hassan and Hussein, and the grandsons of Hussein in sequences. So, imamate means there is Ali. Shia believe he is caliphate and succeed of Muhammad the Prophet, and also he is husband of the daughter Muhammad Fatima, and also he has two sons, Hassan and Hussein, and there is 9 sons from Hussein. All this is infallible man. So Shia believe in this way. The imamate theory finished in the 4th century in Islamic calendar. When the Shia imamate theory finished in this way, the Shia theologists need to this theory continue until now. So after that, why? But before that, why the theory finished? Because the 4th century, the Islamic calendar the last Imam, his name, Imam Mahdi, the son of Hassan al-Askari, he disappeared. The Shia believe God disappeared the last one, Imam, infallible Imam, for the purpose to save people in the future. They say salvation in this way. So if this is the theory, when the theory and to the philosophy of occultation, here appeared the alternative leadership. What is the alternative leadership? This is mean mujtahid or ayatollah, the jurist, the scholar. This scholar represent themselves as agent of theology, and this is has public agent because what they can rule and can derive the Islamic law to the people. So mujtahid or ayatollah, they have their own approach, they have own methodology. We call this usul al-fiqh. Usul al-fiqh, this is established by the Imam theory, Imam al-Sadiq, the sixth Imam. So usul al-fiqh depends on three approach or four approach. The first one, they deductive Islamic law by the Quran. The second one, they deductive Islamic law by the Sunnah. The third one, they deductive Islamic law by consensus on judgment. Because if the scholar agreement about some issue, this issue become law to the people. And the last one, we call this the reason. The mujtahid or ayatollah, he can deduct his law according to his reason and his background about usul fiqh. We call this ijtihad. He can derive this to analysis and give justification. Or this is so. In this way, we can say the theology, the Imam theory, and the philosophy, the theory of Imam and the philosophy of occultation is mechanism, historical mechanism. They support the Ayatollah phenomena. Without theology, there is no authority for Ayatollah because this depends on this. Go to the second one, please. So, also Ayatollah, he can reinforces his authority. He need economy. He need money to reinforce his economy. So, the system of Ayatollah maybe is different from others because he has independent economy. This is independent, not rely on the government or the state because they have their own money, and this is they embed them to make their authority last forever. So here in the left one we have three revenue come to Ayatollah. The first one is kumus. What means kumus is 1/5 money. Every individual, he give every year 1/5 of his money, the money he earned from his work or his commercial or like this. This is kumus. This event established in the 3rd century in Islamic calendar when the 9th Imam, his name Muhammad al-Jawad, established this economic system, especially for Shia, because he told the Shia he don't have authority, he don't have money, and he has many schools and many students, and also has poor Shia. He want to support them, so he imposed this law to the rich man Shia to give 1/5 every year from their money to the Imam, and this is continuing up to now. So each mujtahid, he can take money from anyone. He follow this mujtahid every year. So shrine money, in Iraq and also one of Iran, there is Imam I speak before about them. They appeared in Iraq and they built a shrine for them, and the people come to visit them every event on every day, and the people give donation to them, money or in kind to them, and they can collect huge money from this shrine money. Yes, the shrine money belong to the state, belong to the government, but under supervision of Ayatollah, the Grand Ayatollah. For example, in Iran, if you go Imam Reza, under supervision of supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei. In Iraq, under supervision Ayatollah, the great Ayatollah Sistani, he can control, take decision to this money and appointed agent for upon this shrine on this money. The third one, he can Uda bequest. This Uda bequest establishes, this is an endowment for mujtahidis. This is established in the 19th century when the North India become, this is society Shia, and become out autonomy government for Shia at that time, and this is make align with the British government in that time. So when the government, the British government, went to war against Bengal, they take loan. They took loan from this autonomy government belong to the Shia in the North India. We call this Awad state. So it was he told the British government, say, I will give you loan, but don't return money, but give me interest 5% benefit every year. And this is belong to the shrine, belong to the mujtahid from 19th century up to now. So interest for
Riba.
So this is a big problem at that time. Mujtahid said if you take interest from the infidel, it's okay. Okay. So for this reason, we can Mujtahideen update their deductive law according to the modernity. We will see later. Okay, go to the next. So come here. So this is diagram collective, or this is idea, or summarize all this idea. We go to the modernity. So we go to the modernity with the deriving mechanism by colonialism. Modernity came to the Iran and Iraq in the 18th century and 19th century. When it comes to the Iran and Iraq, especially in Iran, the idea will separate among the people, and the people they become more freedom and to people. This is even will make Ayatollah authority undermine Ayatollah authority. Why? Because modernity in the Western society, they converted society from traditional society to the modernization society. This is converted, make the church is weak, undermine the church authority. The same event happened in Iran, and because Ayatollah, they know the result, and they know this liberty against their authority, what did they establish? This is name is taqlid. So become taqlid is systematic. It started with the 19th century. So I discovered this is, or maybe I can, this is one of results, maybe this invisible mechanism, and at the same time deriving mechanism to the taqlid, because the Ayatollah scare from modernity to make people more liberty, and this is made to the modernize or make society more modern. This is lead to convert society from the traditional to the modernization, and this is lead to undermine their authority. For this reason, they established this taqlid, and they taught every person, every layman should follow Ayatollah, and Ayatollah can give their law to determine their life in good way. So also theology, we explain about that, theology. And theology means supporting a visible mechanism by Imam theory and usul fiqh, and also independent economy, commerce, shrine money, as visible mechanism, Uda bequest, invisible mechanism, because nobody know about this Uda bequest. Culture and patriarchy. Also, if you understand why Ayatollah has this authority to society, we should understand the culture of society. So the culture of society in Iraq and Iran is tribal culture, and the tribal culture, the people belong to the tribe or the leader of tribe, and also the women, as well as control over women by patriarchy. And also in this culture, the tribe culture, the women belong to the man, and man can control over women. And this is obedience and culture of obedience. All this paved way to the Ayatollah to establish his authority. So if you do the culture we can supportive mechanism, but at the same time invisible mechanism.
10 minutes more.
Okay, thank you. So we go to this here. This is, go to the second, please. So if you go to here, doctor. So I analyze this. If the culture of society, man control over woman, this is lead to the authority, government, whether or Ayatollah control over man. So there's, how can the compensation. So if the man has authority in the family, they make man accept the Ayatollah has authority over him. So if the woman take their liberty and the woman make more independent, this lead to man be more independent and has liberty, and this lead to the authority, traditional authority will finish or will damage or will destroy. So this link with this. So the culture is, the important and the crucial mechanism for Ayatollah authority. We go to the next, please. So here we saw this Ayatollah Mujtahid. If anyone he can be marja or great Ayatollah, he should be PT, reliable, justice, the most knowledgeable, and should be male.
What's Maraja?
Marja means the great Ayatollah. We call in Arabic and English reference. Reference.
Oh.
Yeah. We say a great marja. Yeah. So the mukallid for any layman, he should be sane and adult. Just sane and adult. And he should follow Ayatollah, and Ayatollah can restrict his authority and sometimes take decision behind of him, because Ayatollah has the agent of theology, and the Imam of theology, the agent of God, and the God has absolute authority. So everything linked to other.
A small improvement. Yeah. They're all adjectives. Piety, male, the most knowledgeable, reliable. Those are adjectives. Justice is not adjective, so you want to use just.
Just. Yeah.
Or piety, pious.
Bias.
Pious.
Okay.
That's the adjective for those words.
Thank
But
you.
it's okay. This is a minor thing, but continue on.
So now before this here, but go to the
Next one.
late. No, next. Before.
Or previous one.
Go to this.
Is that?
Also one. Okay. If you go here, doctor, you see this mechanism here. This mechanism here, and this is event, taqlid event, and this is Ayatollah become social, empirical structure.
Yeah.
Ayatollah. So go to the please. Yeah. Okay. Here. So this is fifth chapter, Ayatollah autonomism and contestation with political modernity in the 20th century. So we say dialectic. So this is contestation, problematic or dialectic. So if you go to the Karl Popper with his book Open Society and Closed Society, we say there is a different question about the political issue or political thought. So who should rule? This is closed society, traditional society. But the modern society, he said, how can we organize political institutions so that bad or incompetent rules can be prevented from doing so much damage? So from this point, I want to go to the next, please. So this is my idea here. So here, doctor, dialectic, and here problematic. So dialectic, if you go to the Hegel dialectic, Hegel dialectic, he say Hegel. In Arabic, say Hegel. So Hegel said there is thesis and stable thesis to society, but past the time there is a new idea come inside from this thesis and make conflict with the new idea and with the basic thesis. This is a stable thesis with antithesis. So this is conflict lead to the new thesis. Also, this is dialectic inside the society, in the same. But I observe that this is a problematic, is different from dialectic. Problematic, what does it mean? The external thesis, internal thesis, and the external thesis come to the internal thesis, conflict with them, become problematic. Until we can fix this problematic, we can't do the to reconciliation. So go to the next, please. So here we use dictor as how does dictor the name in the social science? School of social science.
Oh,
This is our friend Dictor.
Azmir?
Azmir.
Azmir, yeah.
Yeah. He gave me these two books and these wonderful books. So Nader Hashemi in his book Islam, Secularism and Liberal Democracy. Just give me time, please. Okay. In this book, he wants to describe the modernity in the Islamic society as dialectic. He say he should the liberal democracy and political modernity came start with the Islamic society from bottom to up, as happened in the West. But of course, I don't agree with that because if you go to this arrow, this is diagram here, the political modernity start with the dark age passed to the Renaissance age, and Renaissance age moved to the Enlightenment age, and Enlightenment age lead to political modernity. What happened now? We have extreme liberalism in the Western society, and the church become very weak, and the religion almost will disappear. So if we apply the same thing in our society, we will get the same funding, the same result as Europe people now live. So if you go to Abdullah Ahmed al-Naim, Islam and Secular State, he say we should separate about secular state and society. The state should be secular, not society. So if the state be secular, maybe the state give a freedom to the people, and can people practice their own thought or their own belief. But in the same time, the government should support the major identity to the society to preserve about social system or social value. This is external thesis with internal thesis to make this reconcile between them. We need to preserve about our traditional, our value, and at the same time we support democratic system or political modernity. Go to the next, please.
We'll be another 3 minutes.
Okay. So here, Victor, also in this diagram, and the same thing happened in the first half of 20th century constitution between Ayatollah, application of political modernity. We have Al-Nouri, Fadlullah Al-Nouri, Ayatollah, he rejected constitutional movement or political modernity system. We have Al-Naini, Ayatollah Al-Naini, he accepted the constitutional movement with a justice. He say, we accept the democratic system, but this democratic system under supervision of Ayatollah, until Ayatollah prevent any law against the Islamic law. So, society is a processing through taqlid and the problematic of modernity and structure of the state. Here in the 20th century, the Ayatollah become mechanism. In the 19th century, Ayatollah, no, empirical of social structure. So Ayatollah, his authority become more strong, more stable. He become mechanism to push society to the event, and he can adjust, or he can do action with the social structure or empirical. Go the next, please. Here, same with the Dawah party in Iraq, also under supervision of Ayatollah Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr. Also, his thought, God absolute sovereignty, and God has authority to the to the state and also has authority to the Ayatollah, and from this authority, Ayatollah can they take decision behalf of people and restrict their freedom to preserve about the social value or Islamic law. But here also the Ayatollah is mechanism. Also, if you go to the next, please. So here, if you go, Doctor, so Ayatollah, no, this next.
No, before this. Oh, yeah. Oh.
We have 16. Okay, no problem. Go to this. Okay. This.
That's the one.
16, just about.
16.
About.
One, you lost one.
You lost one. Oh, okay,
Go
no
up,
problem.
one more. Try it. No, this is way down.
So, okay, no problem. So, now, if you go to this diagram, so Ayatollah paternalism and paternal social thought. So, but Shia theology or Shia society, their thought believe in political theology about Imam should rule the society, and we should follow this is political theology under God except us. Ayatollah paternalism, this agent of theology. So the political theology culture can formation the political modernity by these two mechanisms. Ayatollah from the side, paternal social thought another side. Both of them formation political modernity in Shia community. For this reason, this might result the political modernity in Iraq is hybrid from democratic system on this side. Another side, the culture of society is traditional. The culture of society is different from the political modernity. So go to the last one. And the last one about this is presentation. I can come to this result. So Shia community, but Nazim Ayatollah, by Taqlid, he can practice paternalism as neuro because he can take decision behalf of their adult people, normative. They give justification because they agent of theology and they presented God's law and they give justification for them. They should layman follow the scholar because scholar they have more knowledgeable about the reality and duty. Every person should follow Ayatollah. If he not follow Ayatollah, God don't accept his action. And it's hard because they take decision behalf the adult, not behalf of the child. But this heart can divide two, weak and strong. Weak, classical school, just they waiting theory, they wait Imam Mahdi come again, and the rules political, they don't interfere with political so much, like Ayatollah nowadays in Iraq, Ayatollah al-Sistani. But strong is modern school, like Wilayat al-Faqih in Iran. The Wali al-Faqih, he has absolute authority over economy, society, political, and everything, and individual. The last one?
That's the last one.
This is the last one.
That's one.
That's the last one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay, all right. Let's take a break for you now.
Okay.
How do you feel, Adi?
More intention.
Tension? You feel tense?
A little nervous.
That's good, that's good, that's good. A little nervousness is good because without that is bad either.
Yeah.
So 0 is bad, 100% is bad. Something in the middle is good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no stress is bad. Some stress is good. Too much stress is bad. And there are research being conducted on stress level of students before they go into exam. There's people who are extreme stress, very stressful, and
Yeah.
people who are kind of moderate, stressful but moderate. The other one is no stress, and relaxing.
Yeah.
The one that score highest is the moderate. So there's some anxiety, but not too much anxiety.
Anxiety about the work here.
Okay.
It's good or
Here
bad.
I'm going to share my input now. This is an important stage, right? You have reached this level. This is good. You keep on writing. That's actually you produce chapters. That's actually good. So now it's matter of rearranging, realigning, rethinking about what you have written, because this is a different kind of research than the traditional research. So I'm thinking what we should do now to make it more systematic, because otherwise it will go all over the place. By the way, we have a new potential family member from Bandung. His name is Professor Rudy. Professor Rudy, he's welcome, Professor Rudy. It is our honor to have you here. Okay, so what we Abang you here too, Abang Riza? I just saw your name. Riza? Riza is my brother, if you know.
Oh, this is why the name is
His name, right? Okay, let's go to the first one, right? Now, which is your title page? Your title page. Thank you. And you've done a good job there. Your mentor, Raja is mentoring. Evolution of paternalism, right? So your work at the end should show the evolution of paternalism, right? I think you have done something down there. So that's the whole idea. And you want to show the contestation within political modernity of Shia Iraq. Okay. So the imagination that you have, the focus you have is about the evolution of paternalism. Right? That's what you want to do. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Okay. Usually the research objectives, right? Not usually, should be the case, should reflect the research objectives, research questions.
Yeah.
Right? So you do not want to run away. So research objective number one should reflect research objective number one, or research question number one, right? And likewise for the rest. And that's something. So to examine the effects or outcomes resulting from a mechanism utilized by Ayatollah to promote paternalism. So you have number three there is a bit too specific. You want to make it more general so that it reflects the research question number three. Here you went straight into Ayatollah and paternalism and all that in there.
You mean number three of
Research objective, yeah.
So he said we match with the three questions.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Doctor, it's not all my research objective. Not all.
Yeah.
No,
Which is
it's
fine.
just part.
This is part of it, right?
Okay.
And by the way, for all of you as well, do double check your work and all that. It's best to get somebody else to have a second look at your work, right? So like you have number three there to examine, not to exam. To examine, right? Two is to analyze, that's good. To investigate. You can use those words: analyze, to investigate, examine. So you can use those words. Correct. So we are clear now. Now, what are the evolutionary changes throughout the different periods in Iraqi Shiite? I know we talked about this, about the evolutionary changes, but I'm concerned now. Our mind should be focusing on the viva, on the oral defense, the final battle. Not the final battle, almost the final. The peak of your PhD journey is the viva, right? I'm concerned whether the examiner will ask, why are you just looking evolutionary? Why are you not looking at revolutionary, whatever type of changes, right? So you want to think about that because maybe some changes are not evolutionary, some changes are quite rapid and transformative, or you know what I mean. Evolutionary implies slow changing or
Slow changes and naturally.
more natural,
Yeah.
not disruptive, right?
Yeah.
Kind
Not
of like
systematic.
Malaysia, like very stable, not much changes from one government to another government, things like that. Some say they're basically the same dudes running the government, something like that. So kind of like Indonesia as well, right? So you do not have drastic changes, right? But except for certain time, right? So now, if you use that word in China, certainly it won't be acceptable because there's revolutionary changes in China. So I'm not sure you want to use the word evolutionary. Maybe we can replace it with something that is safer. So the whole idea when we go into the viva, into the final year thesis, is to make sure you are as safe as possible. Now I suggest you change from evolutionary to key changes.
Key changes.
Key. Yeah.
Can I use this word in the
You could.
title?
Yes. Did you use see?
Can I use in the title? Key
How-
changes.
How are you going to use? Your title is the contestation within modernity, political modernity, right? That's your title. You want to use key?
I mean, you say you should to change. This is
Evolution.
change. This is evolutionary.
From what are the evolutionary changes to what are the key changes? Research question number one, that is.
Okay, what are the key changes?
Throughout the.
Okay, just this, I use this here, key.
So keeping it, because we cannot predict what the examiners will be thinking about. They want to nitpick. They want to, sometimes they go micromanaging.
Like this?
Key changes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're safe by that, right?
Okay.
Yes.
So you see, the thinking now, our philosophy is to go in strong and to go in safe.
But here is stayed like this, no problem. The title.
Stay that way. We can the title can maintain that way, because you are talking about the evolution. Oh, that's the point you're saying, right? Evolution. All right. I see your point there. So hence the term I suggested to you was transformation, which is another word.
Also,
Or changes.
You suggested this.
Evolution, yeah, we did talk about that.
Also transformation.
Or if you want to keep it safe, changes.
Changes also.
Changes you can use. You can use the word transformation if you want.
Transformation.
Or changes. Or you want to indicate that it's moving, like throughout time, right?
I focus on moving the time from the 19th century, especially with the modernity, and on.
Okay.
From 19th century on.
Yeah.
Especially from the fourth chapter, I started with the modernity when the modernity entered to the Iran and Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other safe word to use is transformation.
Transformation. Yeah, maybe transformation.
I think about it. If you find another better word, because you see, I would.
Can change, for example, we say paternalism phenomena.
Yeah, you can use that one. Yes.
Can?
Yes.
Because
the
phenomena
of paternalism.
Yeah.
Contestation.
The phenomena of paternalism.
You can use it.
And
Which we kind of discussed last time. The word phenomena.
yeah.
There would be another way to put it.
But in my title, in my thesis, I gave interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Is okay with phenomena if I give
think so.
interpretation?
Yes.
No.
Because you're explaining a phenomena,
Yeah.
which is paternalism, right?
So if I use phenomena, is need to mention phenomena in the literature review as definition or no need?
Here, phenomenon doesn't imply the phenomenological research. You're just explaining the reality or something.
Okay.
The phenomenon, the condition.
Okay.
Right. So that would be one way to. Good point. You relate to your title. Where else? Okay. This is where I got to go in deep. Right. Now, there are two parts to your research that is, what should I use here? The word is heavy, complex, right? And that is historical sociology. The other one is retroductive research, right? Okay. By the way, those of you who have not attended the research methodology class, Wednesday I'll be talking about the 4 research strategies, philosophies. One of them is retroductive research strategy. So let us understand first retroductive research strategy and philosophy. Retroductive, the whole idea is the philosophy behind it is the scientific realism. What it means is if you actually have certain graphs and visuals over there, which I think we need to improve to make it much more clearer. So there are 3 levels of reality, right? 3 levels of reality in this research. The first level is empirical, what can be seen, like you said, visible, what can be seen. But what can be seen is an outcome of certain processes. So there's a empirical, there's the actual. So something happens to create this empirical, right? So we have why do Indonesian women wear headscarves the way they wear? You can see the picture how they wear, right? Certain compared to Iran, for instance, why do they wear headscarves? It's different. One is very cover, very whatever, very darker suits, darker. So that is empirical, right? There's a layer on the top, right? You go deeper, some processes that leads to that, right? So that is the actual. But the most important part is the real. What is the mechanism that is generating? What's the fire? It's like fire boiling the water, and you see the vapor. The vapor is people capture empirical, but the fire that's within the pot, that is the actual. That's the process.
The actual process. Yeah.
The fire is the real. What fires are down there? Right? So if you talk about Indonesian women, maybe the culture, right? Maybe the culture, maybe the non-intervention with non-governmental intervention in terms of clothing, right? What else we can talk about? You can talk about the media. So these are all the causal mechanism. So the whole idea is to describe in retroductive research, to describe what are the causes, I say causal mechanism, what are the processes, right? And what are the empirical. So in this case, the empirical is actually the phenomena of paternalism, right? That's empirical, right? So you want to show what are the processes that lead
you're right,
to that.
I just don't want to do so many slides here.
Yes. That's why we do need to reduce this one, right? We do need to reduce this one. So now the point I want to say to you, which I noted earlier on my home, that is to explain briefly but adequately and clearly to the examiners what retroductive research strategy is, because some of them might not understand.
Okay, you're right.
Likewise, abductive research, some of them do not understand, and they talk about this, they talk about this. So, methodology is the part that examiners can easily attack. Most often, not most often, almost always, they will look at methodology. Almost always, right? Seldom do I have viva or as an examiner or as a supervisor that they do not ask about methodology. So methodology is where you want to. I teach methodology, but I do not think methodology should be the most important part of the research, right? I think the findings, the analysis, and theory should be important, but that's where people attack you. Right? So you want to be clear about retroductive research strategy.
Okay.
Now, the other part is the historical sociology that you're using. Now, historical sociology is very much about the changes throughout time, right? Beginning with Ibn Khaldun, talks about the rise and fall of kingdoms, right? The Sabiyah and all that. Sabiyah. That is a historical sociology. Max Weber.
Karl Marx
is historical materialism. He puts a lot of emphasis on materialism, meaning
from
economy,
communism to the
That's
slavery,
slavery,
to
agrarian,
the
feudalism.
feudalism,
Yes,
to the capitalism.
That's
yeah.
historical sociology. Max Weber is as well. Max Weber will be much more relevant to you because it talks about authority and power.
Authority power,
Right?
yeah.
Traditional,
Yeah.
rational,
Charisma.
charismatic.
Yeah.
Right? So now, which is interesting because in the case of Ayatollah, I think he has all three, arguably so, because he's from the traditional, he uses Islam, traditional, but there's a rational way of choosing him, justifying him, the criteria of being an Ayatollah, right? And he's also charismatic.
Yeah.
I think to some people maybe, I don't know, right? But certainly he has followers. Right? So that's an interesting thing. There. So the point you want to highlight is that you're using historical sociology. This is a perspective of historical sociology.
Okay.
So you want to emphasize in your presentation about that, right?
Right.
And your historical sociology covers from what period to what period. You're looking at that, right? And the more I think about your presentation, the more I think evolution should not be the word, because Iraq has gone through some real major changes, right? So,
maybe people sudden.
Even
maybe,
the American occupation is like
sudden, yeah.
Sudden, there's like a disruption of your Iraqi history, right? So, and then left, which is disruption.
Yeah. Also, this is Ayatollah. His authority changed with the policy. If something there was a policy, he will change automatically. Because the policy is very important. Despite most of them, they believe waiting theory. They believe in wait Imam Mahdi come. They don't interfere with policy, but they impact on the policy, and the policy impact on them.
So, certainly, if you look at your retroductive research, there, the Ayatollah, right, definitely is one of the causal mechanism. But is it the only causal mechanism? And Ayatollah causal mechanism can also be broken into a few parts, I think, because there's a theological part, there's an economic part. You just explained there, right? The theological also I don't know whether is legislative or legal authority power, which is another form, right, of power that he has, right? So you might not want to lump everything under just one. They're all under Ayatollah permanent control, but they're all separate mechanisms, so to say. Right? They're religious or theological, economic, the legal maybe. But I'm just putting my giving you some inputs there. But you have explained, you have understood this. You can make it much more sophisticated. So instead of one, you have one or two or three generating mechanisms. But you've seen Muzakir work, right?
I tried to do that because we use identification. I tried to use open coding to specific. I want to identify this mechanism, different. But also I tried again to mix this mechanism together, because all this work together to give us this empirical. The phenomenon of Ayatollah. I tried this, but I will do more.
We will go probably much more in depth to your work later on when we talk about it. Now your fourth chapter, which is slide number 4, which is exploratory, not explain, exploratory, the mechanisms. So this is grammatically a bit problematic, so you might want to improve the label a bit. Now, you have kind of rewrite what retroductive research methodology is about. So you have visible, invisible, driving, supportive. This might confuse the examiners because you're using the word mechanism here. All right. When we talk about visible can be empirical, right? Certainly empirical is visible, measurable. The actual can also be visible sometimes not, right? Because processes, sometimes we can see the process, sometimes we cannot see the process. So actual So if you put in something like this, it might be a bit confusing, right? I would advise you just to remove this part. It is a supportive driving. I think driving is actually the causal mechanism, right? It's,
Yeah, push.
push.
I mean push. Yeah.
Push. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you put push, they can also be pull. Push and pull factor, right? So there's another part to it.
Yeah.
So man, causal mechanism is raw. They are raw, meaning power. Okay? We cannot see power, but power exists. You know what I mean? Right? And oftentimes, power as it is nothing there, but projection of power when they turn into actual, when there's interaction, when there's process, then it's bad. It's like I'm strong, right? I'm a causal mechanism, right? I'm strong, but I'm like an egg. I do nothing. But once I break from my egg, right? I express my power, theological power, economic power, religious power, legal power. That's where you start seeing the interaction, the actual. They use them. They use the power, right? And then, so you got to describe the actual. What happened? What the Ayatollah did, or whatever. You got to explain in the second second layer of reality, which is actual, right? And then you can see the actual. So, as is usually power is invisible and is kind of domain.
Invisible.
Usually power is
Invisible power.
Usually is.
But maybe realized, or maybe I mean not invisible or visible. Talk about something physically, but I talk something is culture.
Culture.
Society.
Yeah, but culture is invisible, right?
Okay. It's better delete.
Can I catch?
Yeah.
I mean, the culturalists or the anthropologists will talk about physical culture and tangible and non-tangible culture. They'll talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So, but here we are talking much more on a sociological term. So, but even if you talk about culture, here we are referring to cultural values, right? Like patriarchal values are also, again, invisible, right?
Yeah, invisible. Yeah. Tangible, yeah.
Like China, you value order as a cultural value. Order, right?
Yeah.
From what's his name? Kongzi, all about harmony, order, right? Because in China, 乱 or chaos is bad. Right? Which I agree. I agree. Imagine the whole China is chaotic, the whole world will be chaotic, right? Thank God China is not chaotic. Order is important. I'm not sure order is important in the Arab culture. I don't know. In Malaysia, I'm not sure. Order is important, but it's not as important in China, I think. So I mean, in one of the things you learn in Chinese school is actually obey, follow orders, wait in line, all those disciplinary.
Okay, conservative.
Not necessarily conservative. Yeah, it might be seen as
Yeah.
conservative, but it's about making sure things are orderly.
Yeah, orderly.
It's orderly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very concerned
Right.
about that.
So if a family will respect the brother, the uncle, the father, the mother, there is an order.
Yeah.
The father is the head,
Yeah.
right? This is the head. There's an order to the society. There's an order, right? Good or bad, there's another thing, right? But there's an order to that. So, I would advise you to remove this one, yeah. The next one, which is paternalism, thank you, which is paternalism. Here, when I first read it, it took me some time to understand. I felt I'm reading some mathematical equations or something, some formula, But then I get the point eventually. This is from Hannah, right? We're doing it right. Two things about this slide. One is you're taking a definition or explanation as from Hannah, right? So in a PhD research, if you take something as is, right, and you do not change it, you got to explain why. But if you have your own, use your own, and you should also explain why, right? But in this case, paternalism is key in your research.
Mm.
You would want to explain it a bit, but you do not want to go too deep in your presentation because you have like six different dimensions
Yeah.
of paternalism,
Yeah.
right? So you do not want to, because you'll be spending too much time on explaining paternalism, but you want to explain, but you don't want to explain too much. Just
I'll explain as much as I can.
What paternalism is.
Yeah, maybe it's Hannah is,
Hannah is, I would omit that one. I would make some general reference to Hannah, but you can say this is my definition of paternalism.
oh,
Okay, as you can say that. But as you also need to convey clearly to examiners, because in your conception of paternalism, it is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be neutral,
yeah.
it can be positive, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make it that clear.
according to the liberalists, they say paternalism is wrong in the first class, in the first side.
Yeah.
But the first side, at first glance, is wrong. But if we go deep, we will investigate is wrong or not wrong.
Right.
So there is argument between paternalistic people and liberal people, if they accept or not accept. The liberal people, they don't can eliminate all paternalism because it's necessary sometimes.
Yes, yes. Which
So
we have
paternalism is
explained just now.
not so bad. Maybe
So that needs to be communicated in your presentation.
Just this information. If you go, for example, Islam is paternalism.
Yes.
Why? Because paternalism, if you go to it, is mercy. Paternalism is mercy and benevolent. Yeah. If you go to the, for example, Quran, you say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay. We say, for example, Quran say, Inna arsalnaka rahman al-alamin. He talk about Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. We sent you mercy to the world.
Yes.
Mercy to the world. So another part from Quran he say,
mercy is paternalistic. Right?
yeah, he say Muhammad has authority over the believer until them themselves. Has
Yes,
authority. Their money and until themselves as authority. So we should obey Allah and Muhammad the Prophet and the leader of Muslims or like this. So we talk about paternalism here. So Muhammad has authority from God, absolute authority to the people, and at the same time he has mercy.
Yeah. So it can be more benevolent paternalism or something like that. So you can have some little explanation, right? Just the different, instead of having going deep into the six dimensions there. All right. Okay. Here is where. How do I comment on this one? This one. This is where it's a mix between methodology and your data. Yeah. Right. So here you're explaining methodology here. Right? Okay. So out of your explanation, you have come up with the data, so to say, right? The mujtahid, ayatullah, and the consensus on judgment, the Quran. This is actually almost like early findings, so to say. So what you want to, I think you keep this one, but methodology you want to explain the retroductive research methodology, right? So you have, I fell down the other day using my elbow. So in a slide, you can explain the research, retroductive research methodology, right? But the historical sociology as well. So imagine now you have like 3 columns. How many columns? 2 or 3 periods? Three periods, right? 1, 2, 3, right? So retroductive research strategy and in historical sociology. So you put 3 columns in the slide, what period to what period, what period to what period, and then you say, explain the causal mechanism, the actual, the empirical. And then you can give some examples, just enough, so that they have an idea of what retrospective research really is. Okay. So you will need to have that one explained. Right. So that should be the methodology. So like this kind. So here like 3 columns like this, right? So everyone else cannot see this, but it's fine. 3 columns. This is just giving example, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm just giving example. 1950 to 1970, 1971 to 2000, 2000 to 2010, for instance, yeah. Right? And then you say this is empirical, actual. The bottom is causal, or real, right?
Okay.
Real. So yeah, you explain example. Paternalism is moderately whatever, or whatever you explain that way.
Okay, but if I do this, you summarize.
Kind of summarize, but summarize the methodology, not your findings here.
Okay.
Right? You get the idea? Yeah. Because you're explaining methodology here, not your findings.
Okay.
So you do not need to put your findings in there. Those are just example.
Okay.
Just example,
Okay.
right?
I need to think about that.
Okay. The challenge you have, Mutadi, is that you have a sophisticated research, which makes it complex for people to understand. So you want to make it.
I need to campaign all this in my mind.
You put a lot of thoughts in there too, right? I can see that so much. And almost each of that you explain and explain. So, and then sometimes people get lost in the explanation. They see the tree, not the forest, the picture. And here you want to explain the picture. We're talking about methodology now, right? That is methodology. So here, what I see is kind of the focus of your research here that you're talking about the what? Yeah, this is the understanding of the Shia.
Yeah, I need to just present
okay.
Shia to the examiner.
Good. So that's what you want to say. A brief view of the Shia theology or Shia philosophy or Shia theology or whatever you can use whatever right on top of that. Right? And the important point here you want to highlight, which I think you do highlight, but the word is not quite there, which is the imamate, right? In Shia, the imam is actually very important.
Yeah.
Probably the most important because talking after Prophet Muhammad, right? So maybe you can highlight the primacy of imamate. Something like somewhere there on top there is the primacy, which is the imam is actually the governor of not just religion but life also basically.
Yeah, Imam has authority as Muhammad Prophet has.
As Muhammad Prophet, same. Yeah.
Which the Shia believe.
Which is I think an important thing because he probably be presenting to somebody who are Sunnis over here who might not understand. But once you say that I can understand, but I understand better. Oh, that's how Shia That's why Imam Khomeini is important, right? So, right. In the Sunni, we do not have that.
So
the imamate there.
In this way, I should do another diagram, just explain 3 things: the theory of imamate, the philosophy of occultation. This Imam Mahdi disappeared.
Yes.
Very important thing. And the waiting theory, the waiting Imam Mahdi will appear in the future. All this lead to the alternative leadership.
Okay.
Alternative leadership.
Good. You explain that.
The agent of theology is Mujtahid.
Who is now the Ayatollah?
Yeah.
What does Mujtahid mean?
Mujtahid.
What does it mean?
Mujtahid means someone has how can I say that?
The one
delight.
The one who can
Hard
make
work.
ijtihad.
Yeah, ijtihad. From
Okay,
ijtihad.
someone who can come
Yeah.
up with directives, yeah?
Yeah, directive, yeah. Ijtihad,
Was another word for like ijtihad. Okay, they can come up with policy. Fatwa. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thanks, Marcel. That's my brother. Who is also studying on Islam but spirituality outside there. Okay, so you get the idea, right? So
Yeah, I get the idea.
you get, I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
the point you highlighted.
I will sublet this to just I put the theology for Shia 12 hour. Just a diagram. And the next diagram I put Imam theory with the Mujtahid or Ayatollah, and this is methodology for them.
And the term I would use, up to you, is a primacy of imamate, which is this primacy is the essence of what is in there.
Primacy.
The primacy.
Just give me the spelling.
Primacy.
R-I and
Primacy.
M-I-C-Y.
Not M-Y. M-A-C-Y. Primacy of
Yeah.
imamate. Like sultanate, imamate. Right?
Yeah, preeminence.
Huh? What? Imarat.
Yeah.
Oh, Imarat.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle, Kun, this is complicated. But this is one type of research methodology, one type of research strategy, right? Retroductive. Raji is doing abductive research, which is different. Okay, I'm going to move to the next one.
Yeah.
Alright?
Okay.
Okay, next one, Hanif. Okay. Okay, at this point, right? At this point, I just want to emphasize one thing. When it comes to presentation, and if it's a complex presentation, even if it's not complex presentation, if you could use the cursor, right? The cursor, the point where you're presenting.
Okay.
If not, right? Put a number there. So like here, other projects 1, 2, 3, 4, right? A, B, C, D, E, F.
Okay, it's better to use this.
Maybe they just cursor.
Yeah.
Now, just in case that you have, especially when you have a lot like this, you have only 3 points is fine, or 4 points is fine. You have a lot, you want to think about it. You use cursor or use numbering there. Now, the slide before this and the slide, this one, the social structure of Shia economy, can be explained together. So you have the primacy, what is it? Primacy of imamate. So that understanding Shia, primacy of imamate, right? They can explain further. And the second part is where the control of Shia economy. This was this control.
Yeah.
The control, right?
Yeah.
So this is another one, right? So you explain that one. You do not have to go too deep into all this, but it's enough because it's quite a lot. Yeah, but it's enough to say that Ayatollah basically has control or authority of multiple sources of revenue or income or riches or asset, right? Which is outside of the country's revenue, just separate. So the country, the government has its own revenue.
Yeah.
The one has its own. Yeah. Which is actually an important point to highlight as well, because here we are talking about Iraq, not Iran.
Yeah.
I think in Iran they will control everything, including.
Yeah, supreme leader Khamenei controlled everything in Iran.
Yes.
Yeah, because it has political authority.
So this is where, and in fact, you can draw the comparison between Iraq and Iran a bit here.
No, I talk about the social system or the system of Ayatollah. from the 1,000 ago up to now. This is the system.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Iran is just like this. How can I say that? Iran is rare event, rare event, to the Shia school. So we cannot compare. Maybe Iran will go. Maybe the authority will fall in the future, but the Ayatollah system will stay.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the government might fall, but the imamate will be stay. Yes. Yeah.
For this reason, I say Ayatollah is very, how can I say it? He's very clever or very smart. Why? Because he knows the policy change always, but the religion not change. He say, we wait Imam Mahdi in the future, he will rule. We just control over religion. We agent for religion.
No. Okay, the word agents is now, right? Agent, I don't know whether how you translate that in Arabic or not. Another word for agent is what is it?
Representative.
Representative. What's the Arab word?
In Arab we say wakil.
Wakil. Okay, wakil. Marza, can you hear me? I'm thinking of an English word that automatically examiners will understand.
But why I use agent here? Because in paternalism, this agent is familiar.
I know.
The question of paternalism. Why? Because the government is agent of people. The doctor is agent of patient, right? The boss is agent for his worker. So he can, because he has agency for them, he can take decision or restrict them by this agency. So, but agency with the Ayatollah is different. For example, the Malaysian people, they give agency to the government to allow to grant the government this authority to take decision upon of them. So the agency from bottom to the up, because by election the people give this agency to the government. But with Ayatollah is different, because here God give agency to the Imam al-Theory, to the Muhammad Prophet and Imam al-Theory, and Imam al-Theory Muhammad give agency to the Ayatollah, and Ayatollah he become agency from top, not from bottom, from top.
Yes.
So he imposed his agency to the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The word. How about if you want to use the word agent, slash it with the word wakil. You use the word agent, right? But put the Arabic word as wakil.
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 Okay.
Because in Malaysia we understand what wakil means, which means
I think
representative.
You use wakil.
We use wakil. Yes. We use wakil.
What mean wakil in English?
In English,
from
representative.
bahasa to
Representative.
same.
Representative. Representative. But it could also be stronger than just representative. It can be emissary, a person carrying the mission. Or it can be when Prophet Muhammad was about to hijrah, was looking for places, right? He sent emissaries.
Oh.
They're also wakil.
Also wakil. Yeah, also wakil.
Not just a representative like that. They carry authority as well.
Yeah, we said sometimes al-wakil kal-asil. We say in Arabic, al-wakil kal-asil, mean the agents as the owner, the same owner. The agents is the same owner.
Yes.
Yeah, we say. For example, if I give agency to the lawyer, he can't do anything.
Yes.
Yeah, by this agency.
So just put the word wakil there. I think that will solve the problem there. Yeah. Okay, this is maintained there. Here is where the next one. This is taqlid, right? You're talking about taqlid right now, modernity. Start replacing the word driving mechanism and all that, because that would confuse people with the retroductive research. So be consistent using causal mechanism, the real, and the actual, it's about processes, and then empirical, right? So here you have driving, supporting, so on that. So let me see what you have here. Okay, driving mechanism. Here. Can you just shift it after this? Change it that way, because I think these are all.
Okay.
These are all. What is it? Yeah.
It's clear.
Causal mechanisms, right? Are they?
Can you shift this?
No, he cannot.
PDF file. Yeah.
PDF.
Okay.
That's okay. We don't have to do it now.
I will do that.
I'm just asking you now. Is this the real, you know? You're doing it now, right? So, Mutati, I'm asking you,
Okay.
right? Are these causal mechanisms or what is this?
Yeah.
Causal.
Yeah. Causal mechanism.
So in causal mechanism, so you have culture, patriarchy. Patriarchy would be a cultural value of patriarchy, right? Independent economy. So you got to explain how all this can lead to taklid as a
Okay, the taqlid. Because first I think I should have culture to the people until I can promote my ideas. This is my idea should be fit with this culture. So if you go to the culture, for example, we say if you go wali mean this is Arabic word. The origin is Arabic. Wali mean
wali, yeah,
wali
yeah,
mean
okay.
guardian.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
And the
Because
guardian
of the wakil,
it can be paternalism.
paternalism.
Wali. So the wali in the house, for example, every woman, every woman belongs to her wali, her guardian.
Yeah.
So, for example, the oldest brother, or the husband, or the father, or the grandfather.
Yeah.
So, for example, the woman cannot marry until her wali accept,
Yes.
her guardian accept.
Right.
This is cultural and religion at the same time fit with the same. So also the children should follow their wali. Also this culture wali until the children become adult and mature, they follow his wali as respectful, something respectful. They follow their father
Yes.
or their oldest brother.
Yes.
And for example, the oldest brother inherited this authority from father if the father passed away.
Mhm.
So this is culture of wali is exists before Islam come because it's Arabic culture with the tribe culture. So for example, the leader of a tribe is the wali of all his tribe, the society or the community. So this is culture. I feel this mechanism for support theology, support ayatollah, support taqlid. I meant.
So what you want to do here, right?
Okay.
See, imagine, I'm going to go here. Imagine this patriarchy and culture. Go and interact with theology. You got to show when the interaction happens, right? What kind of process, what processes leads to that. So you can explain, what you explained just now, and I'm not sure how modernity comes in, but then there'll be processes or things that happen here between this and that, and there'll be interaction.
As I explained before.
Explain that, yeah. So in your slide, you want to do the same. You want to show that how is this just one, or what are the different what are this, and how do they interact? You got to if you cannot do it in visual, you just do it in words. And then you say,
Okay.
explain in word. But here it's just also interesting because you have modernity there, and your title is actually contestation within the political modernity, right? So you want to also show that maybe there are other processes at work are not supporting but contesting or challenging.
Okay.
So
I that mean that.
Yeah,
I mean that.
Yeah. And that's how it is. Like the causal mechanism, it could be fire, it could be water, it could be wind, it could be earth, right? How this mix this, it becomes something else, something else.
Yeah.
If fire is stronger than water, water will die, something like that. So, the 5 elements of the Chinese 5 elements, right? What is it? The Chinese 5 elements? Oh, this gold,
Gold, water, fire,
wood, fire,
and earth.
and earth. Yeah. So basically, these are the elements that shape the world. That's it, right? Eugene, you don't believe that, right?
Yeah.
How could you not believe that? How about you, Kala? You believe that?
It's kind of philosophy.
Philosophy is, eh? You're like philosophical.
It's too old a philosophy.
Huh? philosophical. 我是冬天的木。I'm a winter wood. If you look at the Chinese 风水, winter wood. Okay, so
We have verbs in Arabic verbs. This verb is I can translate to this way. I eat you as lunch before you eat me as dinner. Okay. Okay. This is mean how can I prepare for your attack?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what happened Ayatollah to take modernity. So this is they eat modernity as lunch before modernity eat them as dinner. Yeah, because modernity has liberty and is very dangerous to them.
Yes.
So this is how there's established taklid.
So but I do see that in Iraq, especially, right, there's contesting forces.
Yeah.
So the modernity is a big word, maybe, and the modernity, there's certain values that promote, something much more egalitarian, much more democratic, much more liberal. That would be a generative mechanism as well, because Iraq is not Saudi or Iran, something like that. It's and with American occupation, right, would definitely bring out a different kind of causal mechanism. So they put in a different recipe to the whole Iraqi society, so to say. So there's this. You want to explain that? So my thought is that instead of having one taqlid, I'm not sure whether you want to say that, but then there can be other processes at work as well, right? So because the contending or the contesting processes or they come in.
It's liberalism.
Liberalism will be definitely one. Liberalism, democracy, will come in, and that will reflect in the phenomena of paternalism as well. That will actually, have an impact. You want to explain that, right?
Yeah.
So and you have elections. You have elections now. You have the choice of candidates, whatever. I'm not sure, but I know that there's a big report about Iraq having its own election. There's the West. This is Western perspective looking at something. This is good progress. So So you want to talk about that. So not everything supports one part of the reality. The reality encompasses more than that, right? So that's this slide here. Let's move to the next slide. Here, I can see, I can sense that this can be true, right? When you agree to the man patriarchal control of women, you're more likely to, and you're saying that men can accept that too. But
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy, yeah. So the issue right now is to prove this.
To prove
this, right?
Okay. Can I prove this by literature?
You could prove this with literature. You could prove this by, but my important question is this important proof? If it's not important proof, you do not want to state it as what is an important pillar in your research, right? Because if it's been questioned and you are not able to answer, then be a problem here, right? But if you are able to answer, you give some references.
Yeah, for example, I mentioned literature with my thesis in the Word, not in the PowerPoint. And also mentioned this is even now did in Iran about the wear hijab.
Yeah.
Because government
Hijab, yes.
obligated. This is a system as the woman should wear hijab.
Yes.
For example, a few days ago, women came to my home, Iranian woman. So we deal about something else. She is like
without hijab and she wear short clothes. And I told her, "Are you outside Iran live or you returned to Iran before?" She told me she returned to Tehran. She lived there,
Tehran,
yeah,
just
5 years and come to Malaysia. I'm sure when he came to Malaysia, she took off the hijab. When she went to the Tehran, she wear the hijab. Why? Because she's scared from the government.
yeah.
So here is the hijab is not like it become political issue, not religious, not religious issue,
Not religious, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So here, why we go to the Iran controlled by supreme leader,
Yeah.
and this is represented Ayatollah and religious. So why he obligated this to the woman? Why to give free to the woman? Anyone she can't wear and she cannot wear because she related to her belief. Because if you give freedom to this way, the man will demand about their freedom more. Yeah.
Okay. You can go ahead, but I'm not sure it's something strong or what is it? Examiners word. You just need to have references
Okay.
and some explanation as well as if you some data would be good as well. Are there any one?
No.
Oh, I mentioned okay. Alright. So anyway, so let's go to the next slide. Let me go through the parts that I want to explain. Yeah. Okay. Where is it? Where do you have the three? Oh, there. Okay, there's the one. Explain thesis. Okay. So you have the slide number 11, Hanif. The problematic, yes. Yeah. So you have here problematic and dialectic.
Dialectic.
Okay. All right. Here is where, at some point, right, you want to show where's your findings and where's your analysis or discussion. So if this is your discussion, you start to note it as a discussion. So at this point, since your work is historical sociology, it involves a lot of literature and all that. So I understand that it can be a bit unclear between what is data findings and what is discussion. But you do want to have a separation between your findings and your discussion and the explanation. So, for instance, this one maybe should be under analysis and the discussion because you're going to higher level of analysis. Yeah. Right? So, next one. Okay, this is another one. The top, this is one. Also should be under discussion, I think. Right? Yeah. But that slide is now, Raja, go on. It's like people might ask what is the difference between reconciliation and the antithesis, right? What's the, or new thesis? So you need to explain that. Right? How is new thesis different from reconciliation? Right?
Okay.
Right? New thesis would usually imply the incorporation of the thesis and antithesis. Usually implies that. But reconciliation might not imply that. It might be talking about finding an agreed point where people can accept the reality or something like that. Right? So you want to explain so that if they not necessarily in the slide, but you're ready with the explanation. The next one, so Raji. Okay. Here we have something that is also should be part of your analysis, right? Because now, see, like you all, when you have done your findings, right? You have analysis. This is where you want to reconnect with the theory or literature. Extremely important. This is the extremely important part because one of the questions that the examiners will ask is, what is your theoretical contribution? So this is where you reconnect with the literature. Say, oh, okay. This is, you can go back and say, this is how my findings will contribute or challenge or debunk or what you want to use that, or confirm the literature on or whatever, right? So that's extremely important, right? Especially for PhD level, you want to do that, right? Okay, I'm about to round up now. Yeah, that's good. I know, that's good. Take note there, yeah. And then this is the point that actually you actually have the empirical, actual, and the real, right? What is it I want to say now? Here you have the Ayatollah's Platonism, completely one there. Like I suggested to you that you want to break this up further, or instead of having this, just replace this, and this should be in your findings. Right? See, you have that one to explain your methodology. Right? This is actually your findings, and your findings actually this should not be the only generative mechanism. Right? And then, you gonna tutup ah? Okay. Now, society is processing through taqlid. Again, like I explained to you just now, you got to show the process. So instead of society is processing the taqlid, just now you have modernity, you have patriarchy and all that, right? So modernity will the process build institutional building of democratic institution, for instance, right? Or promotion of liberal values, for instance. They'll be from the modernity just now, right?
So I should add modernity, the real of mechanism.
In real, yes.
Yeah.
Modernity, maybe you want to break it is because modernity is a big word. It's almost like modernity. What is it? Yeah? This whole phenomena of modern, right? It's modernity. So you can put modernity dot modern values.
Yeah. This is with this modernity here. This is in the 20th century, the first half from 20th century.
Oh, first half, 20th
Yeah.
century. Okay.
Is the modernity is still mechanism or is still empirical? Because the argument about modernity, argument between Ayatollah and between society about this is a new system come. If we accept this is a new system, or we should just resist and defend about Islamic law, because Islamic law represented God authority. So this is argument between in the first century happened in the Iraq and Iran at the same time, and between two Ayatollah they have the different point of view about modernity. So here modernity is mechanism here, or this is argument between society between Ayatollah. They push society as event because eventually the society will accept or not accept the structure of a state.
So this is the challenge and the difficulty or the sophisticatedness of retroductive research, right? This is probably the most toughest research methodology. Now, I can go into different aspects of causal mechanisms. Now, for instance, what's his name? What's his name again? Your previous president? Saddam Hussein. Okay, Saddam Hussein. He's a socialist.
He's maybe Saddam Hussein. Yeah, maybe
Socialist.
Yeah.
So there's socialism there as a causal mechanism. I do not know whether it is or the name is socialist, but it's not socialist. I do not know. So there's one. Maybe the military is another causal mechanism. I don't know. So in your framing of it, or you can your framing and your identification of causal mecanism should reflect what's happening.
Yeah, because
but this is the first half, right? First half. No, I would not think this is the only mechanism that's at work. I think there are other.
Yeah, because if you ask, if I come with you, if I ask why make this Ayatollah argument between each other, because of maternity. Right?
Yeah.
So this mechanism is real. It's mechanism for this argument.
So then you're talking about the two
Ayatollah, this is,
Ayatollah.
yeah.
So then you are saying that the one is the green and the other one is the red here, supposedly, right?
Yeah, because the green is green maybe is accept constitutional movement, constitute, but with supervision, under his supervision.
Under his supervision, yeah.
But the other he refused, rejected all his, because he got, the Islamic law is enough. And Islamic law is can fix everything. Yeah.
So that's actually a contestation at work, right? And the paternalism is at play at a high level eventually, right? Because both actually prescribes paternalism in some form.
Yeah, yeah.
But they each represent different forces in the Shiite community,
Yeah.
right? Theological community especially. So that should be separated as one. So the beauty and the power of retroductive research is that at the end you can say, this is the picture of Iraq. What influences the phenomena of paternalism. You can see the fire, the bottom mechanism there. And you do not negate there are contending or contesting mechanism at work also, like modernity or like two different forces that, But I'm thinking Iraq for a long time is seen as what, as a military / civil government or whatever. I'm not sure how to see that.
He started with the Ottoman. If you talk about this is contemporary era, we start with the Ottoman Empire.
If you go back then, yeah.
Yeah, and then go to the British occupation.
Okay, British occupation. Yeah.
And this monarchy.
So the colonial, as you noted earlier, colonial institutions and ideology are present there. So, present there too.
Yeah.
So you're a British colony too, right? British colony too.
Yeah.
So like Malaysia too. So
British up to 58. 58 have been coup.
Coup as a coup d'etat.
Military coup.
Military coup, yeah. So
Coup
it's pronounced
or
coup.
coup?
The P is silent.
Oh, coup. Military coup, and this military supported the communism.
Communism? Right.
So here the British finished control over Iraq. Actually, monarchy government under supervision, British supervision.
Oh, right. Okay. So, whatever you have explained to me, if it happens, if it's a significant causal mechanism in the first half of the 20th century, you should note that, right? Put that. Right?
Okay.
You should put that. Now, you can put there if you think it is there, but it's not a significant player, right? You can put a note in your explanation, right? In your explanation. Okay, so likewise after this is the same as well. The one this is the same, yeah. This is the same. So we do not experimental social structure. Second half also. The same thing you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the big contribution you have is actually the model of the causal, actual, and empirical. That's a big contribution you have. That's the most significant contribution. But theoretical contribution you got to explain. So this is lacking in theoretical contribution. So how is this theoretical and how is this connected to a bigger theoretical literature? Right, you got to explain that. So you have a lot there. So I mean, you can refer to the other two literature and say, look what I have discovered. It's kind of a theorizing to challenge or to affirm what has been stated before. But this part they will explain differently. So you want to think about your theoretical contribution. So when a Viva time, right? One of the things I will prepare you all is to ask that question. What's your 3 theoretical contributions? You can say 1, 2, 3. So just like your findings as well. When during Viva, we say, oh, what's your explain to me your findings. Okay, and you say, okay, there are 7 key findings, but I'm going to explain to you 3 most important. You say something like that. So these are the things that need to be included earlier in your presentation, so that it is captured and in your presentation, and it becomes more less risky during the Viva. The risk will be there, but we want to reduce the risk as much as possible. Right? So, congratulations, you have done up to this stage now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Any one of you want to comment or question or something? Usually I'll open to you all first to question, but I thought a lot that I want to comment, that's why. Any? So this is retroductive, right? So if you do deductive or inductive, they tend to be empirical. Tend to be, but not all. Okay. Any more? Anif? But have you said to, or it was Pizarri or who attended our? Yeah.
So I will adjust. And,
you wrote in Arabic, okay?
yeah, because it was fast. So I'll take them into consideration to adjust my PowerPoint and also my Word. So and then we can meet.
You can make another presentation. I want to listen to another presentation.
Listen another presentation before we submit to committee.
Before, yes.
Yeah.
To make sure it's strong. As I said, you want to make it strong.
Yeah. Okay.
The challenge you have, as I think I mentioned this before, is that you have a big research going on here. So you want to make it comprehensible, easy to understand, and easy to convey for people.
Yeah, this is retrospective research strategy is complicated a little bit.
It is complicated. It is complex.
Yeah, complex. We want to specify what is the event. For example, I reached to this point. Some event they converted to the mechanism in the future.
Could be. Good point. Yes.
Yeah, it's event. It become for example culture or become faith.
Could be.
Yeah, become mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah, for example, we came. If you listen to the Ma'at al-Taf. Okay. Philosophy of occultation. The Imam Mahdi appeared.
Yes.
This event happened in the 4th, according to the Shia, I believe, 4th century Hijri.
This is the real Imam Mahdi, right?
Yeah, they believe. Yeah, this event happened in this time, but now become mechanism. Yeah.
Okay, because it's a mechanism to legitimize the current title.
Exactly. So, and also we need to be very accurate to follow this period and to connect with your research question, connect with the research strategy, research strategy.
Yes.
Yeah.
All must be one line, one thread. Explain how cannot be disconnected. So at the end, you want to also say, because of the reproductive research strategy, you have able to unearth, to reveal.
The
genetic mechanism, the causal mechanism.
Yeah.
Right? You could, for you all who haven't attended, you must attend the research methodology POL 500. So I'll explain even more.
Okay.
The causal mechanism is like magnet, right?
Magnet, yeah.
No one has seen the power magnet, right? Magnet, right? Magnet, Magnet.
Magnet, if do you have can I say
Iron.
iron he attracts, he pulls
吸引
another
铁
iron.
铁吸引
Yeah.
Oh, magnet.
Magnet.
Oh, no. 磁铁.
Yeah.
是铁 是铁 okay. So the power of it, magnet, no one has seen, right? No one has seen power of magnet, right? But the power is there.
Yeah.
Right? That's an example. So it can only be seen when you put a nail or a paper clip. It will go. You see the manifestation of the power, but the power cannot be seen.
It's like the focus says sometimes the knowledge or the language could be some force, some power.
Yes, force
to
and power.
To let people obey to its order and order the power systems.
Yes. So now the strength of retroductive research is to unveil, to reveal, right, unearth all these powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just-
Right. Yeah. And this gets a problem.
Yeah,
For me,
because we're doing methodology.
For example, this Oda bequest. If I reveal to the earth, it may become a problem to me.
Yeah.
For example, many people ask, what's the relationship between British and some of Ayatollah? We don't know because some of Ayatollah family they are in the London.
In London?
Yeah, in London,
okay.
and they have their
Nice,
office.
nice.
Yeah, London. So some people ask this question. So with my research, now I understood because there is ODA bequest, and this is 5% benefit interest to this loan happened in the 19th century, and up to now this exists. So this money make this relationship. So not mean this is British try to influence this is economy or Ayatollah and make align with Ayatollah, but some Ayatollah don't. Most of them don't accept. They follow London, but that not mean there's no relationship between them. There's no relationship, at least maybe diplomatic relationship.
Diplomatic.
Yeah.
Yes. That's interesting because you are explaining imamate here, the structure, social, political, economic structure here. It's parallel to the government structure. You're talking Iraq right now,
Yeah,
right? So you have like
yeah.
two
parallel,
governance
yeah.
system there.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Of course, for example,
Uh-huh.
at school, the school is independent. For example, we go to the Sunni sect. They have their school belong to the higher education Ministry of Higher Education,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And this is a college of fiqh,
Scholarship of-
right?
Yes.
We don't have same in the Shia. The Ayatollah should be graduated from their own school. Their own school is independent completely from government. They don't have a relationship with the government. If you know, this school happened in the history of Islamic history more than 1,000 years ago. If you Hanafiya school or Mu'tazila school, Asha'ira school, the same school in the Najaf, and we call Hawza. So this is very independent, and the Ayatollah give money, salary to the students, and them give hostel to them, and food to them, and also they come from Middle East to study in the Najaf because the Najaf like Harvard, like Harvard. So for example, came from Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and also come to study in Najaf to get their certificate from Najaf school. This
So
school
it's
is independent.
This is a theological school then.
Theological school, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like Azhar, Al-Azhar.
Like Al-Azhar.
Like Azhar.
But after Al-Azhar is belong to the government.
Government, yeah.
But the Hawza not belong to government. Never.
It's imamate.
Yeah.
So there's a similarity here because the Catholic Church is somewhat independent like that.
Yeah. Like that. So we have economic independent, school independent, authority independent. So this parallel. Right? Parallel, yeah.
Which I think I do not know how that would, how you would incorporate that into your discussion of paternalism. Is there parallel phenomenal paternalism, or this paternalism is an outcome?
So paternalism not always related with government.
No. Yeah.
No. For example, if I a company and I boss and my workers under my authority, I can't be better than over them.
Yes. Yes.
So paternalism, I found in the literature paternalism about at level of speech. Maybe if the religions, for example, the Catholic Protestant religion, they give money to the charity people, international charity, but they use paternalism about speech paternalism.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So paternalism not related. For example, the lawyer take paternalism, the doctor,
Yes. Yes.
physician take paternalism over the patient. So not related about just government.
The reality that would reflect eventually is like a parallel structures governance, right? But this is I'm thinking of the Catholic Church, right? The Catholic Church is very rich church, strong in many Latin America, Philippines, for instance. But the people are not. the church is rich, the people are poor. You know? So-
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Catholic, I'm talking about Catholic Church. So that's always the debate there, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, there's something there for you.
Also, it's be a good project. Sometimes I support paternalism because it's very important.
Yes.
Because paternalism is preserve about social value, and social value is very important to the people. So
So paternalism has the is associated with male. That's an important thing too. Right? Right.
no, I support paternalism if they belong to the government.
I mean,
For
yeah, I
example,
understand that.
Yeah.
So
Paternalism is
the
better.
question I ask you.
Okay.
Question I ask you. Can a woman be practicing paternalism
Can.
and she's the boss and she practices? Can. So paternalism is not gender specific. Then?
No, not just specific.
Okay.
But if we go to the origin of this concept,
Yeah.
it came from pater.
Yeah.
And pater
which
is
is
mean
father.
the father.
Father.
Yeah.
So you cannot have like leaders, like Indonesia has woman leaders before president.
Yeah.
Right, and she has a very credible daughter, right?
So, for example, sometimes the mother take decision on behalf of her daughter. The mother.
Yes.
This is paternalism.
Paternalism.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. So maybe there's another clarification, minor clarification you want to make up there when you define paternalism, right? You are disassociating gender from the word paternalism, right?
So this paternalism is different from patriarchy.
Different.
Yeah,
Okay,
patriarchy is man, left to the man.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because where is patriarchy, there's matriarchy.
Of course.
Yeah.
The final point I want to say there is this: when you present the next round, right? When you talk about paternalism, you want to be and then you have read quite a bit, I think. Be clear that you differentiate it with other concepts, like it's not say patriarchy. You also want to differentiate with authoritarianism.
I use authoritarianism in my literature because some paternalism with policy can be used
Authoritarianism.
authoritarianism.
So now you explain it. So maybe this is where your creativity can come in even more. You can draw like a spectrum or paternalism. There's some kind of negative side, because some paternalism can manifest as authoritarianism as well. But you want to differentiate. How do you differentiate that from authoritarianism? Because authoritarianism would have a very negative connotation.
Yeah.
Which actually being used to describe a lot of Asian governments.
Yeah.
All our governments are authoritarian, supposedly. But somehow it cannot. Yeah? 5 o'clock, yeah. So we've been here for 2 hours now.
Yeah.
All right, anything, anyone wants to say anything?
Sorry, bro.
Yes.
By the way, Tandis request sample of PowerPoint for Viva.
Oh, a sample of PowerPoint for Viva. Any of the Vivas that Eco, Muzakir, we're talking in English, right? So we can communicate with them and then there'll be example. So basically, I'm allowing more space for you to explain. Usually the Viva will be, there will be a different story. Like Viva, you only have like 10 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. I will explain differently.
So now we have pre-Viva, right?
No, this is not Viva yet. We do not call it pre-Viva in the samples. So we call it findings presentation.
Finding
right?
presentation.
Findings presentation.
We just still early to Viva.
So when we do the if it's pre-Viva, it must look like the Viva and all that.
Yeah.
But we do not have pre-Viva. We have
Oh, okay.
findings.
This
So it's
findings the presentation. Okay.
findings presentation.
Yeah. Because this I find it just I present just 2 chapters.
Yes. Which is this is a findings, right?
Yeah, just find it
Findings.
2 chapters.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I have also 2 chapters talk about from 2003 up to now.
Okay.
I didn't represent them.
Okay.
Just these 2 chapters.
Yeah. Okay, anyone has any question? Pak Rudy, welcome to Sempris. Are you there? Pak, you have any inputs, any insights, any thoughts you'd like to share? Okay. Okay, Rudy, right.